So we actually sort of now know what is going to be happening to Ward and Bane, and we also know that Resilient is confirmed to be being removed. So we just had today's Forged in Aeternum, and it's not like the most interesting thing in the world, but it is talking about Ward and Bane. They again reiterate that Ward and Bane is being removed. However, it sort of seems like they changed their mind from the time of recording to when this was being released, because they basically put up a still that said Ward is actually going to be staying, well, it's going to be removed, but the perk itself is actually going to be changed to like a health perk or something like that. They didn't actually say what was happening to Bane. Now my theory for that is that I sort of feel like they tested it with whatever gear score they're going up to, presumably like gear score 700, and maybe the testers were still doing the expeditions and they figured out that running in Ward gear that was 625 was actually still quite strong and maybe a little bit confusing. So they decided to just remove the perk effectively and change it into something else. They're probably going to do the same for Bane, but they didn't actually say that. And then immediately after that clip, they basically say several things are getting removed.
Any gear you acquire in the future above gear score 625 will not have Ward dropping, will not have resistance dropping, will not have resilient dropping. So the new gear you're going to get is going to be a lot more exciting because there's going to be more viable perks on it. And less perks that you don't really want to see on your gear. So Indestructible is unfortunately gone.
They also said that some of the perks would go, but they didn't actually say which perks they were. Some perks will be getting buffed, some perks sort of getting changed. So for example, on a weapon, the achievement cooldown is going to be increased. They also spoke about how they would be adding some new perks, although I don't think they're going to be adding like loads and loads, but one area that they specifically call out is for healing and the life staff. Basically, they're going to put some healing perks that are actually usable on the armor. Well, just on the weapon perks, basically. One of the overriding things that they want to achieve, apparently, is that they want to have the situation where it says, like, link gear to be a lot less diminished, or a lot more diminished, I should say. Basically, they want your gear score to be an indication whether or not you have the goods or not, rather than do you have this specific set of perks. Now they do say that basically they want every perk to be sort of similar, equal in strength, and I actually think that that's a new design goal. I don't think that was intended. You might think that that was planned from the start, but I don't. I actually think they always planned to have stronger perks and weaker perks, and that was basically how they were going to determine and slow you down a little bit, in that the better perks would be harder to get, and it's actually changing philosophy to try and balance the perks, which makes sense. For items, there was a little bit of confusion on the wording on this. A lot of people were saying, I think it's to do with the scaling of like weapons, you know, like maybe how a weapon is scaling off two different attributes. They were saying it's going to be 50-50. I don't think that's what they meant. The context of how they spoke sort of implies that, you know how a weapon or a piece of armor will have like 15 strength and 10 con? Well, they actually want it to be 50-50. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's going to be 13-13. You've got to keep in mind that actually it probably means 15-15 because we are getting that increase in gear score. Not sure about weapons. We'll have to wait and see. Probably 20-20, I would guess. And the context of that conversation, they said that basically they don't like the split craft perks, and it's a little bit confusing. So what I mean by that is currently you could have a craft perk where it's like strength and then dex, and then the strength is the primary and dex is the secondary. So when you craft it, you get, 15 strength and 10 dex. It sounds like they're just going to do away with those and they'll basically combine them. So instead of one being strength and dex and the other one being dex and then strength, they'll just be a combination that is equal strength and dex. Doesn't matter which order it is because it's the same result. Now I sort of feel like they may just get rid of the split attributes completely, at least for craft mods or some way, because they did talk about how they want to reduce the number of craft mods. There's literally hundreds that are complete junk. It's one of the overriding things about your inventory, very much adding to that unique item cap. They are way too many and they very much need to completely disappear. Like, it needs to be way less. So they want to reduce them and they need to. They did speak about a little bit of the replacement for Ward and Bane, how effectively they are going to be looking at these potions, and they said they're okay with a little bit of prep. So the little bit of prep will be to make sure you've got the right potions. They also said that they like the idea of doing mixed dungeons, so that's something you can expect to stay, but instead of it being I need to change my entire gear, it's going to be you just need to pop another potion. I'm hoping that the potions can be had at the same time. I'm hoping it's not like if I take a human potion, I then take an ancient potion and my human one goes away. That would be really sad, but I wouldn't put it past them. All in all, there wasn't that much in this Forged in Aeternum, but I do think it's a little bit of the calm before the storm. There is a Q&A on Monday next week, which in theory should be all about the expansion. That's what they said at the last Q&A, and there's no reason to think that would be not the case here. Now, what's interesting and what's worth noting, that for Season 1 and for Season 2, we had a normal Forged in Aeternum, and then either on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, we had an out-of-the-blue new dev update. And in that, they spoke about and they announced Season 1 and Season 2. And then the following Monday, there was a dev Q&A about it. Could that pattern be repeating? Is this the expansion week? Not the release of it, but the proper announcement. And what's interesting is tomorrow is the Gamescom opening night. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and say that there will be a trailer there. I have absolutely no idea. But I think it's quite reasonable to expect there could be something this week. And if it's not this week, it will probably be next week. But I'm not really sure how you can have a Q&A about an expansion when nobody knows what to ask. So I do think this week is likely. Probably, I think, with a PTR next week though. However, we'll find out soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Big shout out to my YouTube members and my followers over on Twitch. It's been a great time streaming recently on Twitch. You should definitely come over there and check it out. Let me know your thoughts. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.